everyone. Welcome to Enjoy English School. I'm Chris Gorski.
I'm Antony.
Today is November 4th, and we're talking about day 2 of our 2-day article, The Iceland Airwaves Festival, a Unique Musical Adventure.
没错，今天我们要继续跟各位介绍这个冰岛的电波音乐季。我们昨天呢有简单讲了一下冰岛电波音乐季的历史，还有1999年的时候开始推出，本来只是一次性的，到后来居然非常的有名，然后开始每年都举办。
This is a festival for indie music lovers. There's probably a lot of bands you've never heard of, but if you're interested in different kinds of music, check out a Spotify playlist. You're bound to hear something you like.
没错，我们昨天还提到说，在这个音乐季里面有机会听到非常多的独立乐团。如果你喜欢这种比较小众的音乐，或是你有机会想要认识更多独立乐团，听听他们的新种类型的音乐的话，记得到 Spotify 上面去找很多相关的音乐，它有很多好听的部分哦。
Let's get into paragraph 1. Question. What was the first concert you've ever been to?
哇，老师一开始就问我一个问题，他说你第一场音乐会或是演唱会去的是什么样的演唱会呢？我的话 I think I remember back in 2003, I went to Las Vegas to listen to Celine Dion's concert.
I love that you went to, so 2003, how old were you?
Like 20-something.
20-something. So in America, if you like rock and roll, there are a lot of places that you can go and see small bands. And I used to go to concerts like twice a month, 3 times a month, but they were really small bands that you can pay maybe 200 NT, and you would spend a couple hours, and they were not famous bands, so you could talk with them and eat tacos with them. I used to eat tacos with Mexican Session all the time. And so when Anthony told me you were 20-some years old,
yeah,
in Las Vegas, saw Celine Dion, it's funny how different of an experience we had with music. And it's I'm not critical, 没有批评 because I mean to Las Vegas see Celine Dion, 真的很夸张，很特别，对不对？这是最有名的那个 venue we'll talk about. But it's different than what I experienced, and I did not expect you to say that.
所以老师刚刚那边讲到说，他以前在青少年的时期呢，其实他一个月会去2到3次，
差不多每一个周末，我就每一个礼拜六 let's go to Showplace Theater, let's listening to the band.
没错，然后花个200多块钱台币呢，去听一些小众的这种音乐团体，然后有机会呢，还可以跟他们一起在那边吃 taco， 就是那种墨西哥的那种沾的那个 salsa 酱，对不对？
对，那个在旁边就是一个那个墨西哥餐厅。
哇，那边是等于他们表演完毕之后，还有机会跟他们近距离的去接触、去聊天等等，所以是很不一样的音乐体验。对我来说呢，去演唱会好像可能是好几年才去一次，但他的话是几乎常常没事就去，所以感觉很不相同哦。
对啊，很特别。Okay, let's get into paragraph 1. So, some venues at the Iceland Airwaves Festival are unusual.
OK, 我们来看第一段的第一句话。Some venues at the Iceland Airwaves Festival are unusual. 有一些呢，在这种冰岛电波音乐季里面的这些场地，这些演唱的场地呢，还蛮特别，还蛮少见的。
In addition to shows held at bars and coffee shops, you'll also find performances at libraries, record shops, museums, and even churches.OK,
所以你看第二句话就讲了 In addition to 这边特别注意了，除了怎样 In addition to 如果有加 to 的时候，后面就要接名词了。有的时候你会看到人家讲 in addition 逗号，这时候就不用加任何东西。他这边就讲说 In addition to shows held at bars and coffee shops， 虽然说我们常常会看到说像是在这个酒吧里面，或者是在这个咖啡厅里面，你有机会看到他们表演场地是选择这种地方。You will also find performances at libraries, record shops, museums, and even churches. 所以还有在其他地方你可能不会想到音乐季会办在那边的，像是一些图书馆啦、唱片行啦、博物馆啦，还有什么教堂都有机会看到音乐季的表演哦。
Churches are actually popular venues to both play or perform live music, but also to record albums.
哦，天哪！所以说今天如果有机会的话，你会看到，那个老师刚刚提到说，在教堂里面，除了他们有一些表演啊，可能是戏剧表演啊，甚至还有机会看到有人他们在里面录制唱片。
That's because sometimes churches are too big for their area, and so the church will move to a smaller place to have their church services. So now they have this big empty building. What do they do with it? Well, that big open sound is really good for like some noisier rock and roll. So like bands will buy them, these old churches, and they'll use them for recording spaces. My hometown, Buffalo, actually has several churches that are now strictly for recording music.
哇，真的哦！所以说今天很多时候教堂他们有一个很大的教堂是做比较大型的那种可能一些特殊的庆典啊等等。但平常说他们聚会可能在比较小的地方，那这个大的教堂空着在那边干嘛呢？于是呢，就有一些这种录制唱片的这些人，他们就会想办法说啊，那我们把它租用或者把它买下来，然后专门来录制唱片。像老师的老家这个 Buffalo 水牛城这边的话，就有很多教堂是专门给人家录制唱片来的。
Let's continue. And of course, while there are also larger concerts featuring more popular acts, some big bands choose to put on surprise shows in the tiniest venues.
好，这边他就说了 ，and of course，当然喽 ，while there are also larger concerts featuring more popular acts，的确，当你看到 while 的时候，就是它后面要比较两件事情了。那我们先看第一件事情是什么 ？There are also larger concerts featuring more popular acts，的确是有一些比较大型的这种演唱会，他们呢主打的是一些非常有名的一些团体来，然后吸引大家来。逗号后面他就说 ，Some big bands choose to put on surprise shows in the tiniest venues。所以说今天还有一些很厉害的一些团体，他们会故意选在一些小小的地方，然后举办一些那种惊喜演唱会，突然那种快闪出来 ，like a pop up， 有点像是突然快闪出来说，哎呦。原来大咖的进来了，我们明明在这个小教堂里面没有期望到会有这么大咖的人进来，就没想到哇，这个大咖进来的时候，大家整个吓到。他们也很喜欢给人家这种惊喜的感觉。
This is because big bands are used to playing in big venues, in the big concert halls, and they can't really talk to or see their fans anymore. They're too popular. So what they'll do is they'll have like an email list. You get like their letter every month from the band. And if you've been getting it for a long time, they'll sometimes send you like super fan letters and they'll tell you about the secret show. And only like 100 people are there, not 10,000. And you get to be close to your fans that are your biggest fans, not just your richest fans that can pay for the closest seats. They are the fans that are with you the longest and your most die-hard fans. And as a musician, that has to be the coolest feeling.
没错，所以在这边的话，老师刚提到 die hard fans 就是死忠的粉丝，所以他们有的时候呢，他以往除了去办那种大型的上万人的演唱会之外，他们有的时候会把就是寄那个 email 给这些死忠粉丝说，告诉你哦，可能在这个下个礼拜的某一天，在这个小地方啊，我们有办一个秘密的小型的演唱会，你有机会可以近距离的跟这些你的这个偶像们可以近距离的互动跟接触的，然后用这种方式来加会这些死忠粉丝，超酷的。
Yeah, that's awesome. Let's continue here. Together, these shows go a long way in supporting Iceland's music industry and give a nice boost to the local economy as well.
OK， 接下来这句话要说 together， 好，在一起呢，他们一起可以这样子呢。These shows go a long way in supporting Iceland's music industry。好，它这边的话就是这些 show， 不管是大的演唱会还是小型这种惊喜演唱会呢，都能够一起怎么样 support Iceland's music industry， 都能支撑起冰岛的这个音乐产业 ，and give a nice boost to the local economy as well， 同时也能带动地方的经济。
I learned getting ready for the show. I said, what is the etymology? What's the history of the word boost? And I learned it's an American word. It's a word invented by Americans. It just means push up from the bottom. 每一个美国人都会听到 boost, but 我不知道它就是一个美国的英文单词。
哦，
And 我们不知道为什么就突然有这个 boost 的单词，每一个外国人、每个美国人都会讲，
突然都会讲，
对啊
所以它不是从拉丁文或是从希腊文来的？
不是，是美国
人发明的哦。
Yeah. 好 let's get ready to take a quick break. All right, welcome back to Enjoy English School. Let's begin paragraph 2 and 3. Our second paragraph begins another interesting thing about the Iceland Airwaves Festival is that it's gender neutral.
好，接下来我们看这边哦。他说 ，Another interesting thing about the Iceland Airwave Festival， 另外一个有趣的这个事实呢是什么 ？Is that it's gender neutral. Neutral 这个字指的是中立的，所以 gender neutral 其实是两性都有兼顾到，不会只是偏好这个男性的这种喜好或是女性的喜好，它两性兼顾的这种考量，所以说在这边的话，我们提到 gender neutral 这个概念，其实就是男性、女性都会喜欢的意思。
While we're talking about gender neutral, pick up your pencil. Write a J over the G. This is gender neutral. 不是 gender neutral. 不对。Another thing, please circle another and 画一个箭头到 thing and then write singular. S-I-N-G-U-L-A-R. Singular.
Singular 意思是单数的意思。Another interesting thing 有没有 ？Another 跟 thing 放在一起的话，你要知道说 another 后面接的是单数的，所以到后面的话我会用 is that。好，在这边的话，这几个东西都要同时兼顾到哦。
This means that they aim to have an equal number of female and male musicians.
好，接下来就说了 ，This means that they aim to have an equal number of female and male musicians。好，在这边的话特别注意一下，他这边讲到说，这就是意思是说 ，This means that 也是讲到 gender neutral 的意思。除了说今天两性兼顾的这个地方，在男性女性都会喜欢之外呢，还有一件事就是男性女性的表演者也都是公平的。我们常常会提到 gender equality。Gender equality 就是性别平等，对不对？在这边他就提到 aim to have an equal number. Equality 就是 equal 这个字加上 ity 变成名词，代表平等。所以他希望是男性跟女性表演者的数量呢都是一致的，都是平等的，不会说男性特别多，女性没什么，或是反过来的状况。他会兼顾两性的这种表演的权利。
Now, when we aim to do something, it means we want to do something and we try really hard. We might fail, but our goal is to do this. So they aim to have an equal number. Maybe, 没办法50%, 对不对? But they'll be like 60-40 or like 55-45 这样子. So it's very close, even if they can't get 50-50.
没错，所以 aim to do something 就是目标是放在这里。aim 这个字本来的意思就是目标，你瞄的这个靶。那在这边的话呢，如果说像 aim to 的话是当动词使用，我们目标是希望能男女平等，但是有的时候可能40-60或是45-55这样子，也许就是没有办法达到50-50完全平等，但是他们希望能够推动做到这件事情。
Sure enough, when I was going to concerts every weekend, there might be 2 or 3 girl acts or bands playing, but there were almost always boys. There's just, I think, a lot more male-only bands, but it was always cool to see like the female singing band. Because it was always really different, a really different vibe. It was a different feeling, and that was a cool thing to see.
老师刚刚用到这个字 vibe 就是 vibration 的这个简写 vibe V-I-B-E vibe。如果说今天你说，这个人感觉我觉得跟他调性还蛮合的 ，we have good vibes。有的时候你会看到这个 vibe 再加上 s 来表达说我跟他很合拍，非常非常痛，非常对这种感觉。
In fact, it was one of the first festivals in the world to achieve this goal.
好，接下来就说了 ，in fact， 事实上呢，它可能是讲细节了。It was one of the first festivals in the world to achieve this goal。事实上，他们也是第一个开始是希望把这件事情做到的一个音乐季。所以说 one of the first festivals， 因为它是 one of， 其实事实上是可能还有其他人在做这件事情，但是至少他们 同时在做这件事，他们是第一批想到，我们要把这个 gender equality 考量进去的一个重要的音乐季。
So I asked Anthony a question, and we tried to think of a good answer, and we didn't have a good answer. So 我们想问你们。So if you are the band playing at a venue, you're not in Taiwan, you're in a different country, 而且你不会讲他们语言，对不对？ So you need to say something cool off the stage in the local language. What's like the coolest thing you can yell?
对，老师在问说，如果说今天呢，想象一下你自己是音乐表演团体，想象你是五月天好了，好不好？你五月天呢到了另外一个地方，到冰岛去，然后要演奏了。如果说今天在台上，你也不会说他们的语言，你要在台上叫什么样子的口号，会取得大家的共鸣？你会想到用什么样的方式跟他们互动呢？
对 ，But you gotta be careful. 我刚想到这个，I remember Ricky Martin.
Ricky Martin, yeah, 瑞奇马丁。
So, Ricky Martin went to like 他去中东 and they gave him a scarf to wear, and he wanted to be like very supportive, and he wore this. It was a pretty blue and white scarf, and it had letters, and he took lots of pictures, and everyone said, "Wow, Ricky Martin, so wonderful." But 他看不懂那个字 and 那个字 it said like Israel belongs to Palestine. It was like very political, and it made Ricky Martin look really bad.
天哪！所以说这时候瑞奇马丁呢，他后来反正到中东去表演嘛，结果后来他人家就给他一个围巾，然后蓝白围巾上面有字，他也看不懂，他就到处跟人家照相。然后呢，后来上面就写说，上面那个字啊，就写说应该这个。以色列是属于巴勒斯坦的，非常非常充满政治的这种语言，但他不晓得，所以到后来让他事情延烧了半天，让他很痛苦。
Yeah, so maybe this is a bad idea. Okay, let's continue. So if 4 straight days of music in one of the most beautiful and unique cities in the world sounds like something you'd like to experience, the only question is, when is the next flight to Iceland?
好，又是一句很长的句子哈，非常棒。OK， 我们来看一下，他说 ，So if 4 straight days of music in one of the most beautiful and unique cities in the world， 好，我们先到这边，你可以是从 if 一样，一直到 in the world， 先把它框起来，然后在上面写一个大大的 this。好，这个 this 好继续哦。This sounds like something you like to experience。如果这件事情是你想要去经验的话 ，OK， 那我们再看这个 this 里面到底有什么。如果连着4天 ，4 straight days。这个 straight 的意思是连的4天 ，4 days in a row。好，就是连4天的意思。好，在这个 What are the most beautiful and unique cities in the world? Reykjavik。好，就在雷克雅未克这个地方，这样的一个地方，然后有可以享受这种音乐季的这种洗礼。如果这样你都没有你 is something like that you like to experience 是你想要体验的这种感觉的话呢 ？The only question is 现在要问的问题就是。When is the next flight to Iceland? 下一班飞往冰岛的飞机到底是什么时候？赶快去订机票就对了。
对，应该太冷就没办法游泳到那边。
没错。
Let's get ready for vocabulary review. All right, I think it's time for vocabulary review. Number 1 today is a performance.
Performance 就是表演的意思。
Number 2, to put on a show.
To put on a show 意思就是指举行一场表演。
Number 3, a venue or a concert venue.
A venue or a concert venue. Venue 的意思就是表演场地 ，concert venue 当然指的演唱会的表演场地。
Number 4, the local economy.
The local economy. Economy 指的是经济。Local 指的是当地的、在地的 ，so the local economy 就是当地的经济。
And finally, number 5, we have gender. That's uncountable. Gender.
好，这个字是不可数的。Gender 指的是性别的意思。
So just before we go, I was thinking, I mean, coronavirus, we're not going anywhere, right? We're not going to Iceland tomorrow. So let's face it. What's the next best concert we can go to?And I think the answer is Spring Scream.
OK， 老师说呢，虽然现在疫情这么肆虐，对不对？其实我们也没有办法明天就飞去冰岛嘛。所以说呢，我们觉得下一个可以参加的音乐季在台湾是哪里呢？我在猜应该是春娜了吧。
Yeah, I know it's really popular, but I've actually never been to Spring Scream. I'm usually working, and I don't really like big crowds. But if I remember correctly, and I will have to ask her, our friend Rose from Enjoy English School from about a year ago, she went back to Canada. I think she even performed at Spring Scream at one of the smaller stages.
哇，所以之前在我们这边教的这个 Rose 老师呢，他现在回到加拿大去了。他之前的话，因为他本身是音乐家，所以他曾经好像在春大有表演过。老师让他去问问看，说，哎，春大的那种感觉啦，他有什么想法等等，要跟 Rose 老师请教。
I'll have to ask her, and maybe next time we talk about it, we're going to tell you to watch her show. But until then, for Enjoy English School, I'm Chris Gorski.
I'm Antony.
We'll see you then. Bye bye.
第12页，全球节庆。极北音乐饗宴，冰岛音乐季。
Iceland Airwaves Festival, a unique musical adventure. Some venues at the Iceland Airwaves Festival are unusual. In addition to shows held at bars and coffee shops, you'll also find performances at libraries, record shops, museums, and even churches. And of course, while there are also larger concerts featuring more popular acts, some big bands choose to put on surprise shows in the tiniest venues. Together, these shows go a long way in supporting Iceland's music industry and give a nice boost to the local economy as well. Another interesting thing about the Iceland Airwaves Festival is that it's gender neutral. This means that they aim to have an equal number of female and male musicians. In fact, it was one of the first festivals in the world to achieve this goal. So, if 4 straight days of music in one of the most beautiful and unique cities in the world sounds like something you'd like to experience, the only question is, when is the next flight to Iceland?